Imagine walking into the town square and seeing dozens of people dancing wildly, their faces twisted in pain, their bodies refusing to stop. Hours pass, days pass, and still, they dance. Some collapse from exhaustion, others die where they stand. This isn't the plot of a horror movie. This was real life. Today, we're uncovering one of history's strangest and creepiest mysteries, the dancing plague of 1518. A bizarre event that swept through the city of Strasbourg, leaving people terrified, confused, and desperate for answers. Was it disease, witchcraft, or something far more sinister? Let's rewind to the summer of 1518. Strasbourg, then part of the Holy Roman Empire, was a bustling medieval city. Life was tough. Famine, disease, and poverty weighed heavily on the people. But no one could have imagined what was about to unfold. It began quietly. Just one woman. Her name was Frau Trophäa. On a hot July day, she walked into the street and began dancing. Not joyfully, not gracefully, but frantically, as if something unseen was pulling the strings of her body. Neighbors watched in confusion, maybe even amusement. Surely she'd stop after a few minutes. But hours went by, then an entire night, and still, she danced. Within days, dozens more joined her. Men, women, even children were struck with the same compulsion. They weren't dancing for joy. They were dancing in agony, their feet bleeding, their bodies collapsing, but their arms and legs kept moving. Eyewitnesses described the scene as horrifying, dancers screaming for help, begging for it to stop, yet unable to control themselves. The city's leaders were panicked. Physicians ruled out supernatural causes, saying this wasn't witchcraft, but an illness of the blood. What they called hot blood. Their cure? Strangely enough, they told the victims to keep dancing, to purge the sickness from their bodies. Now, picture this. People dancing under the blazing sun, with sweat pouring down their faces, their bodies trembling. Some dropped dead from exhaustion. Others suffered strokes or heart attacks. The sound of drums and pipes echoed across Strasbourg as families watched their loved ones spiral into madness. Imagine seeing your brother, your mother, or even your child dancing themselves to death before your eyes. The city became trapped in a nightmare that no one could explain. And the question hung in the air: why? Historians have debated the cause for centuries. Some believe it was a case of mass hysteria, a psychological phenomenon triggered by fear and stress. The people of Strasbourg lived through famine, disease, and deep religious anxiety. Could the mind have simply broken under the weight, unleashing chaos in the body? Others argue it was ergot poisoning, a fungus that grows on damp rye, producing chemicals similar to LSD. Consuming it could trigger hallucinations, convulsions, even madness. Could a tainted harvest have turned Strasbourg's bread into a deadly drug? And then, there are the supernatural explanations. At the time, many believed this was punishment from Saint Vitus, the patron saint of dance. In desperation, authorities marched the afflicted to a shrine dedicated to him, hoping prayer would end the curse. But even centuries later, there is no definitive answer. By early September, after weeks of horror, the plague finally burned out. Survivors were left with broken bodies and haunted minds. Hundreds were dead, and the city would never forget the summer of 1518. It was a tragedy written into the cobblestones of Strasbourg, one of history's most chilling and unexplained events. So what do you think really happened? Was it poisoned bread, a curse, or the power of the human mind pushed to its breaking point? Drop your theories in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you enjoyed this dive into one of history's creepiest mysteries, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more chilling tales from the past. Because sometimes, the scariest stories aren't legends, they're real.